But unlike Roman, CM Punk got a wife who can come out there. The in-ring work, we've talked about that. We'll see how that is. She was never a 5-star classic worksman, but she wasn't bad either. But I am curious to see how that is able to go. We saw with Nikki and Becky and how it seemed like Nikki was struggling a little bit to keep up with the physicality and the speed. I'm sure they'll lay this match out in a way where AJ Lee doesn't have to keep up with anything. But that's the only thing that worries me, especially on a big platform like Wrestlepalooza. That's a huge show.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say it right now. They should main event. That should be the main event of the show. You getting AJ Lee back for the first time in 10 years. Yeah, you got to put that at the top of the card. With all due respect to John Cena and Brock Lesnar and Cody and Drew McIntyre, that should be your main event. That they had to throw an all-time bag at AJ Lee to get out the house. Because we had times at the Royal Rumble, at Evolution, she said, "Nah, I'm good." This match right here, they threw a whole bag and a half to say, "Hey, come outside." And now it opens the door for her to come back to do more in WWE. This should absolutely main event Wrestlepalooza. Absolutely, it should. That is the draw. That's the marquee for me because we haven't seen her in 10 years.
Yeah, maybe, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, with the casual fan, Brock Lesnar is going to be the top. Him versus John Cena. John Cena's last hurrah. That's going to be the top billing. I agree. As a wrestling fan, yeah, it's going to be cool to see AJ Lee, but I don't know if AJ Lee has that same. It's not the same as like CM Punk coming back. Do you think it's on that type of level as a CM Punk coming back? Is she that type of figure in the women's division history?
I think that she is. I think there's been a debate about her importance. I think that she is of great importance to the women's division, the history of the building blocks of the women's revolution at the time. Let's not forget when she was around in 2012, 2013, she was selling merch and she was the only one to have merch on WWEshop.com that was top selling merch. That was AJ Lee. They did that. She did that. I think about the promos she cut when the division wasn't what it was a lot of the time. She did her very best alongside Caitlyn. She helped get Big E along his journey in WWE. Dolph Ziggler for a time got elevated. She was around central storylines with Bryan Danielson and CM Punk. John Cena as well. You mentioned on Sunday night with Gigi and myself that she had that great run as a Raw GM that really laid into her character work. So she's done a lot. She was outspoken when she needed to be. And I think that it's been a long time. And that is the one return in the women's division that seemed pretty improbable at the time. But to know it's possibly, most likely going to happen, I do think it has a ripple effect. I think her impact, I think, is sometimes underestimated because she was right underneath that era of what we see now in WWE. She was pushing for Bayley before Bayley was even on WWE television, rocking the t-shirt. She shouted out the 4 horsewomen at the Slammies before they were even a force on main roster WWE television back in 2014. So yeah, she set the tone. She had the pulse of what was coming. It just came a little bit later than we would have liked. But I think her difference in terms of what we have now, I don't think it can be underestimated. I really don't.
Yeah, all that's very well said. And I guess my only pushback on most of that would be none of that. I don't think her when she got most over was definitely her not wrestling. Like whenever she was not wrestling, her as a character. I mentioned the 3-way kind of love triangle she had with Kane, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan when it had involved the WWE Championship. They had the wedding. A lot of what got her over, what made her intriguing and had people just glued to what she was going to do was you didn't know what she was going to do, but it was always her character work. Like the only really good match I can remember her having was against Caitlyn. I think it was the one where she beat Caitlyn for that title. Um, so I think that's where I'm more concerned about is if we do get the in ring, like what are we getting, or does she bring more value just being there? Like her just being there, is that enough, or does she need to be in the match?
Being in the match is key, and then I have to go back and remember who was booking the women's division during that time. AJ Lee could only do so much because look who was in charge of the division. I can say that for every woman on the roster, they were given very limited to work with in terms of time and story, and you lucked up when you needed to. You lucked up when you wanted to go out there and really put on a good match, and her and Caitlyn did that in their pay-per-view match when she won that title and had that one reign as Divas Champion. But I can't fault her when the booking was shit. Look who was in charge of it. You really couldn't do much. No matter how good you were, you couldn't be great under that regime. Ask the Bella twins. You couldn't be great under that regime. You had great storyline ideas. Nikki Bella worked very hard to improve, but look at who was running the division at the time.